I'd like to talk about T-shaped people. Another term for this that's pretty popular is the generalizing specialist. You hear a lot about this in the agile space. I guess one really important thing to understand about T-shaped people is they're probably the fundamental unit of thing that is required to make stable and whole teams. It's what is required for breaking down the silos. Too often we take our organizational silos, make cross-functional teams, and we create little mini silos on the teams because people still just hand off work and kind of have this whole mini not my job problem. So the T-shaped person or the generalizing specialist really is required to help break that down and get rid of that dysfunction. So what we mean by generalizing specialist or T-shaped person, the T kind of describes the hat of the T is broad. That's the generalization. The body of the T is the depth, and that's the specialty. So you can see that we might have a number of different roles on any given team. You might have a coder, you might have a designer, you might have a tester, you might have an operations guy, DBA, whatever. And kind of you can see there's this progression. To be a generalizing specialist, you start with probably the simplest thing is respect. I understand enough about these people's jobs and respect them as individual contributors, and so we can break down some resistance there. Truly, probably the next step or phase of progression is that there is a more thorough understanding of what that job entails. And then probably after some point, we want to be able to build knowledge in that other area so we can be effective pairs, teammates, and things like that within other people's specialties. Now, I want to be clear that being a T-shaped person or a generalizing specialist does not mean we're trying to make teams full of interchangeable cogs. We don't want to be able to just pick out Bob and shove in Sue, and then it's going to be not noticeable. People should definitely still have their specialties or their crafts. If you're a programmer, you should be proud to be a programmer, but you can't just say, I'm just a programmer, so I'm not going to learn anything about testing because that's not my job. You can't just be a tester or a business analyst and say, I'm not going to learn anything about user design or interaction design. So you have to learn a little bit about each other's jobs. And what we can find, a good metric if we're doing this successfully, is we kind of get rid of the state-based silos that you tend to see user stories go through when things get handed off from some type of design or analysis or these like micro waterfall stages. And you actually see that the states of work for a card transcend who's working on it. You can see that two or occasionally three people can pick up a single card, a single user story, and actually see that swim through the entire process from backlog to done, just with those two or three people working it through the whole time. So really, I think the key takeaways for being a T-shaped person is respect, understanding, and knowledge. It is not to become an interchangeable cog. It's to work with your teammates that have different specialties to be able to be a useful pair, understanding enough about their craft to be able to give suggestions. Oftentimes, those types of things are a little bit more abstract or meta in their context, and really work together to try to optimize flow through the team. Kind of flow trumps waste, and that's what it means to be a T-shaped person.